Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts." This is the Producer's Lounge Podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 3, Episode 12, hosted and produced by greaterandgrander.com. On this week's episode, we're chatting with James Kerwin, who has directed independent feature films and independent popular web series, including Yesterday Was a Lie, Star Trek Continues, and many more. We discuss independent financing, producer horror stories, and the future of streaming exclusive content. Here now is my conversation with James Kerwin. Oh my god, the last 2 months must have been terrible.
Yeah, it just grueling, just absolutely grueling, yeah. And I've actually found that kind of diving into all of the tasks that need to get done has kind of helped me a little bit.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help.
Thank you.
Please let me.
Thank you, yeah.
I'm actually doing good, but now I feel terrible about going into it.
No.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear other people doing well.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So I just finished post recently on my first directorial feature film.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's a satirical mockumentary.
Okay.
And we're having a cast and crew screening tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens next.
Cool.
Yeah. And then also a couple months back, I got hired to basically a friend of mine who was like a manager to like some A-list boxers like Joe Frazier and Roy Jones Jr. She got her autobiography picked up by a publisher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so she was like, "Hey, Tucci, I need help."
Nice. Okay.
And then in addition to that, I got another book that I'm writing, and it's a nonfiction book on storytelling, and that's going to release in August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great, dude.
Yeah. So, yeah. Keep my fingers.
Yeah.
crossed. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Overall, things are good. Also, just chugging away, trying to figure out what's next in the film world. What are you doing in terms of like writing, directing?
I have a film in development right now. I have a feature in development.
Nice.
That COVID kind of put a halt to.
Yeah.
At first, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and finish the script. You know, and I had a draft of the script done, but I wasn't entirely happy with it.
Okay.
And so I kind of dove back in. And we did a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo to raise some development funds for it. Got a nice chunk of money from that. So we've been using that to develop the project, get it budgeted, start to get cast members attached and stuff. Nice. And we've raised a good percentage of the financing, but we haven't raised all of it. So we're still proceeding to, knock on wood, doing that. And then that will be my next project. Again, knock on wood, that'll be my next project. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because I was looking back on your IMDb, a lot of stuff, it seemed like a lot of your stuff was really bootstrapped and kind of like independently put together and fundraised.
Yeah.
Is that true? Or?
Yeah. So the first feature I did, Yesterday Was a Lie, back in 2009. I'm
going to say again, a great fucking.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we had originally independently raised the financing for that, but not enough to actually finish it. Oh. And so while we were working on the film, Entertainment One, which is kind of a mini studio based in Canada and New York, and they are now part of Lionsgate, but at the time they were independent. They were Koch, then Entertainment One, now Lionsgate. But so Entertainment One saw a rough cut of the project and said we would like to buy this property and finish the film and release it. So that was partially independently funded and partially studio funded, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And then that got a brief theatrical release in the very end of 2009, and then it went on home video in 2010, and it recently, in 2019 it hit its 10th anniversary. Nice. And a small distributor called IndiePix acquired it and decided to do a re-release, a 10th anniversary re-release, and gave me the opportunity to kind of go back to the digital negative, as they call it, and remaster it in more modern codecs, and put out a Blu-ray, because E1 had not put out a Blu-ray of it, just a DVD. And people, one of the number one requests we had from fans was, I want this film on Blu-ray with all the special features and all the commentary, and so Kipley Brown, who was the star of the film, and I went in and we did a special segment with outtakes and deleted shots and deleted scenes and all sorts of other material, camera tests, the actresses' camera tests, things like that. And then yeah, we were very fortunate that IndiePix put the Blu-ray out.
That's awesome.
And so now it is out on IndiePix, a Blu-ray new DVD release, the remastered DVD release on IndiePix also, and iTunes and Prime and all those streaming services. So
Very cool.
So yeah, we were very lucky to do that. But then like since then, yeah, other stuff I've done has been independently financed. I like doing it that way because you're not, you don't have people breathing down your neck telling you what you have to do, you know? So I did a short called Are You Our Genesis, which was very fun, and that was all independently financed. And then I was a director on a web series called Star Trek Continues for better part of the last decade, and that was all independently financed as well.
Now the Star Trek Continues thing, doesn't that run into issues because of the IP though? Like how does that, no?
No. Well, it would now, but at the time, CBS Paramount was producing no televised Star Trek, so they allowed other production companies to do independent Star Trek productions, provided that you weren't like profiting off of them or making off of their IP in some illicit way. But we had a great relationship with CBS Paramount. They were totally. I don't want to say they supported us because that would be crossing a line. But they allowed us. They permitted us to do this on our own terms and without any type of interference from them. And it was. You talk about lessons that people learned. This may be a controversial thing for me to say, but a lesson I learned from doing that is that I probably shouldn't have done it.
Why is that?
Because taking a break from my filmmaking career to do a web series, particularly a fan web, what was a fan web? Now, it was staffed by all professionals, both in front of and behind the camera. So, but an unofficial web series based on somebody else's IP probably was not the wisest career choice, looking back. It kind of put the brakes, I feel like it kind of put the brakes on my career a little bit, and it's been a little hard to get it restarted. So, there's a lesson.
There you go. And I've heard similar things like, have you heard of Freddie Wong?
Freddie Wong. It sounds familiar. Who's that?
So he was one of the earliest YouTube celebrities.
Okay.
And he,
yes.
Rocket Jump, and that was his channel. And then YouTube picked him and his channel up to do, I think it was 3 seasons of a show called Video Game High School. And that got his TV career going, but it didn't pan out in the long run because people kept seeing him as the web series guy. You'd think with all of the multi-hyphenates now, people would have been like, no, we're not going to pigeonhole. We know everybody can do anything. And the truth is, no, we're right back to where we were in 1999. Yeah. It's definitely something that filmmakers who are kind of up and coming and getting their careers off the ground should think about. Like, if you've directed a feature, probably don't do a web series to follow it up. Yeah.
Just a piece of advice.
Good advice.
Do another feature.
Yes.
Which is, like I said, that's what I'm in development on right now, trying to get one off the ground. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I got to ask, because I'm trying to, so you had a very interesting situation where your film was picked up by E1 kind of halfway through the process.
Right.
And I'm kind of in a similar place right now where I've just finished this feature. I've got a couple of names attached, and I'm not sure what to do with it. The traditional route is, of course, go to festivals, hopefully get picked up by one of the major festivals, and then get picked up by a distributor. But as far as relationships with those distributors, what did you do to prime that relationship with E1? Did you already have a relationship with them? Or?
Well, to be honest with you, I first of all, I do think that Wagers forgot us.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to flag one down if one comes around the corner. I'll keep an eye.
Okay.
So that's really more of a producer's job than a director's job. And I did not produce Yesterday Was a Lie. It was produced by Chase Masterson and a team of co-executive producers and co-producers and so forth, but it was primarily her. So to be honest with you, I wasn't really that involved in the business side of things. On that. Producing and directing are very different jobs, and I mean, I'm film producing. Producing on television is more of a writing position, whereas producing on film is an organizational managerial position. And it's something that I don't feel I'm particularly good at. And I also think that it kind of interferes with my directing a little bit. If I'm focused on what the budget is and when we're shooting what and how to get this piece of the puzzle in place with this, I'm not thinking creatively about my shot composition, while working with my actors and what I want from them performance-wise. So I definitely have tried to, throughout my more recent career, to stay away from the producing side of things. I might take a producer credit here and there as a honorary credit, but I really try to stay away from that. Anyway, long answer short. That was all Chase is doing. She's the one who got Entertainment One involved. She's the one who they courted each other, and she got that deal done.
Nice, very cool. Yeah. So then, as far as your interactions with producers, it's can I ask what you and Chase are not?
Well, we actually were in a relationship at the time that we made the film. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And so, as far as your interactions with producers from that perspective, what have been some of your better interactions with producers? Anyone you want to call out or give a shout out to that did a really excellent job?
Yeah, she did an amazing job on Yesterday Was a Lie. Bernie Stern is a great producer. He produced Are You Are Genesis. He's been working with me on this project I have in development right now called Contracoup, this feature that we're hoping to get off the ground. He's a great guy, very solid producer, very supportive. On Star Trek Continues, I had a producer credit, but it was more of a creative producer credit.
Right.
The more organizational producer was Lisa Hansel. She was very, very hands-on and very supportive as well. I did a short film called When the Train Stops, just recently, that starred Gian Lancie and Michael Forrest, the classic actor, and Rekha Sharma from Discovery and Battlestar, and Lisa was the producer of that as well. She's very, very supportive of the director's creative vision, and director can't ask for anything more than that. I mean, that's
nice.
It's a very good thing to have in a producer if you're a director. Yeah.
Very good. So then I got to ask. So as a director,
yes,
we all have them. Without mentioning any names, are there any producer horror stories?
Honestly, I haven't. I've probably been lucky in that I haven't had situations like that happen.
Okay.
Yeah. What's yours?
So there was talking to this one guy. He was I met him at a networking event, right?
Okay.
And he's pretty drunk.
Okay.
And he comes up, he starts talking to me, and he starts being very condescending. Basically talking about, oh, you're doing your little films, you know. And I looked him up in the intervening time while I was at the event. It turned out he was producer of like House of the Undead or something of that franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's just like really condescending. And then he gives me his card. And then he starts touching my legs, which is really weird. Yeah, exactly. So like, okay, well, I'm not dealing with this guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've had producers who have like made promises, I'll raise money for your film, kind of thing, and then just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I've never had any that I've actually gotten a project off the ground with and then just been like, oh shit, I should not have worked with this person.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything like that. No.
Good.
No.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, I heard this one lawyer, a guy named Skylar Moore, say there's a lot of dreamers and schemers in Hollywood. So
there are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I've just been lucky that I think I've headed those off at the pass whenever they've come up.
Yeah.
For me, like I kind of like noted, not going to work with you. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there was one other thing I saw on your IMDb that I wanted to ask you about. Yesterday Was a Lie. There was a movie version and a TV version.
There was a web series of it.
It was a web series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was it repackaged? Because I know Paramount has done that.
No, it was an actual web series that we did as a promotional thing for Entertainment One.
Okay.
We got some of the actors back, some of the supporting actors from the show, from the film, and did a little web series based around their characters. And very, very short, like 2 to 5 minute episodes maximum, just a few of them. No budget. It was just a promotional thing for the E1 release.
Got it.
So that's all that was. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good then that you're like bootstrapping a lot of stuff, because a lot of the things I've heard is like now there's this whole cottage industry of like filmmakers who are just doing their own thing and putting stuff out there. And what was once called forewalling, and now people are actually like doing it full time to like just put out their own content and movies, like just getting money off of the ad revenue essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that as a potential future for like independent film?
I don't know. I mean, it really, to me, it all comes down to the quality of the film itself, Because there's a lot of bad stuff out there, and there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
And anybody who has, all the different streaming services can attest that you can very easily get overwhelmed by the paralysis of choice, because you have so many movies to choose from, and great television shows now, great limited TV series, which are film quality or better in many cases. So you have so much content out there that how do you sort through it? How do you sift through it?
Yeah.
And if you're doing independent films and you're trying to self-release them, it's going to be very, very difficult to find an audience, because you're competing with all that. And so I'm kind of an advocate of, if you're going to do it well. Like if I'm going to do a film, and if I wait a couple of years and I can raise more money in that time to do it more of a higher production quality, I say wait and do it of a better quality. The better your production value, the more eyeballs you're going to get on it, the more likely you're going to get even a smaller distributor to pick it up. That's kind of my mantra. If you're going to do it well.
That's a good mantra to have.
Yeah.
Were you ready for food?
Yes.
Okay.
You're getting the sandwich?
I'm going to do the Copacabana sandwich.
Yeah. I'm just going to do an appetizer.
Do you want to side with the sandwich?
No, but can you hold the tomatoes, please? Thank you.
I'm gonna do. What happened to the chicken and wrapped in bacon and the
chicken brochet?
Chicken brochet. Add that.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Do you want anything to drink?
Just water for me.
Go.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. So Copacabana, no tomatoes, and the chicken brochette, and also do 2 orders. You want?
Yeah. I'll take another one of these. This is great.
I was so glad that worked out. Sorry, to get an argument, but that's what I was sort of where he went. Okay.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
Good vibes. Let me ask you something. Like because you're doing a lot with writing and directing and developing your stuff. How are you balancing just overall just making time for yourself? Because I feel like, myself included, that's a lot of times people in our industry kind of neglect self-care. So I'm curious if that's something you prioritize and have so high.
I mean, I think it's a combination of two things. Like, first of all, what I love doing most is directing.
Yeah.
So when I'm working on a project, that's when I'm the happiest. I feel like I am caring for myself then. So, and that is combined with the fact that when you're doing the kind of auteur style directing thing, when you're not directing for hire, but you're kind of getting your own projects off the ground, there tends to be a lot of downtime in between things, or a lot of downtime when a project's in development, you're waiting for the producers to raise money or things like that. So I have plenty of downtime that I can, play a video game or talk to my friends on the phone or catch up on the newest TV series or something like that. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, but I mean, film is my passion, so I like it. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's work. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is incredibly hard work, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
At least to me.
So what kind of stuff are you looking forward to in the entertainment industry now that the strikes were over last year? We might have a strike, but not much of one regarding IATSE. What are you looking forward to in the industry in the years?
Yeah, well, I hope IATSE. Well, I hope that works out well. A lot of times the crews kind of get the short end of the stick. So I hope they get what they are asking for, and I hope that they don't have to strike. And if they do, I hope it's quick. What the writers and actors asked for last year was, to me, a no-brainer. I mean, you look at what they were asking for, and you're like, well, why would you not give them that? Of course they're entitled to these very basic things. The fact that they had to strike over that, just blew my mind. I mean, regardless of how you feel about striking and unions and so forth, to me, this one was an absolute no-brainer. It's crazy that they had to strike for those basic things. So I'm glad that all worked out in their favor. And I hope IATSE does too. So, unfortunately, the strikes did kind of put a damper on things, and it put a lot of people out of work, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to predict what's going to happen with this industry. Just in the 20 years that I've been doing this, 25 years, whatever, it's changed so much. The landscape has changed so much. And, with streaming now being the primary way audiences are viewing films and television shows, as opposed to the theatrical experience followed by renting it on DVD, the way the model always was before.
Yeah.
That, and then you have the situation where there are streamers that are doing well, and then there are streamers like Netflix, and then there's streamers like Paramount Plus that are doing terribly.
Yeah.
And are probably going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen there? Are those going to consolidate? Are we just going to have a new version of cable, which is just all the streamers in one package? So I don't know. It's so hard to predict.
It is bizarre too, because we're going towards like a duopoly situation.
Yeah.
With Disney buying Fox, and then potentially he's going to buy Sony now. Warner Brothers is going to buy Sony.
Sony?
Have you heard about that?
I know that there were some overtures of Warner Brothers or Sony trying to buy or Paramount.
That must have been what it is.
But
yeah.
I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. I think Skydance is still courting Paramount. There's I don't know. Paramount Plus has been struggling so much that I don't know if anybody wants to buy them. It's
as someone,
and it's a shame because they put out good content, but it's
as someone who used to work at Paramount, I completely understand why.
Okay, all right. But it's I don't know. It's and then the kind of the loss of the theatrical movie-going experience. I mean, people will still go to the movie for blockbusters if it's Dune or something like that, but just going to the movie theater to watch a smaller film, a medium-budgeted film, an indie film, that rarely happens anymore. I still do it, but most people don't.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the movie theater this day and age, and there'll be sometimes it's packed, sometimes there's 3 other people in there, and it's when everybody is the kind of the default way of watching movies is doing it at home.
Yeah.
That's a huge shift from where things were a few decades ago. So,
and I'm sure you've seen this too. The only places really showcasing independent films in a theatrical experience are like these indie houses, like the Sunset 5 or what have you. Or I think the Alamo Draft House opens up in town, where you go, you have to pay for parking, and then they offer beer and wine, which is nice.
Yeah.
But then that also is expensive, and you wind up spending $100 in one night for 2 people. So yeah.
Or you have these indie films, like there was a indie film, Freud's Last Session. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It came out a few months ago, and it had a fairly major theatrical release. Well, it had Anthony Hopkins in it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're doing an indie film, if you want attention, get a star in it, at least one, if not more. So much of it has become about who is in your movie.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that, but I feel like it's like that even more now than it was before. In the 90s, you could do an indie film with no names in it, and you could get some attention. Yeah. No way that's going to happen now. You've got to have some bankable names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to get, not even to make money, just to get eyeballs on it, just to get people to watch it, you've got to have somebody recognizable in there.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'll even add fire. I'll add gasoline to the fire. So like I saw this article in Filmmaker magazine. I guess it came out last year.
Okay.
And this pair of indie producers, 2 very enterprising young women, they basically contacted all of the independent filmmakers they knew, and they said, "Hey, your independent film. Did it make its money back? Give us all of the empirical data that you have or feel comfortable sharing." Turns out there was basically 2 camps of movies that made money back. One was a budget of under $50,000 with no celebrities attached at all, or budget over $1.5 million with at least one celebrity who was in the top 100 of the IMDb star meter at the time of release. So for what that's worth, there's a huge fucking gap there. Yeah. So, what do most filmmakers do then? That's the crazy thing. Do you just that's kind of like a false binary choice then. You either toil away doing $50,000 movies for nothing with, as you mentioned earlier, like potentially low quality, or do you try and hit the home run of like getting a big time real actual famous person and getting a $1.5 million budget? And I don't know the answer to that, but it's definitely seems to be the arena that we are now playing in.
Yeah. I don't have an answer to that either. I think that's the answer. You either do one of those things, and if you're making a $500,000 movie or something like that, you have to be prepared you're not going to make your money back. I mean, honestly, that's it. You just well, this movie is not going to make money. Yeah. I'm doing it for love of the art, but it's probably not going to turn a profit.
I wish I could turn to a happier subject, but yeah, our industry is really fucking crazy right now.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I usually end these with like, if you had one piece of advice to give your younger self, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have something you would tell the 25-year-old version of yourself as they go out?
Oh, man, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the 25-year-old version of myself was kind of an asshole. I don't even feel like that was me. You know how you look back on things decades ago and you're like, that wasn't me? And in some way it's not you. I mean, what they say, like every cell in your body changes after every 7 years, you're a complete, and I think psychologically you're a completely different person than you were 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be cocky. Be humble.
Yeah.
And as far as specifics go, like I kind of alluded to before, I would say, if you started to get a feature film career off the ground, don't kind of take a step backwards and do web series. Mm-hmm. At least not for a sustained amount of time.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to get you anywhere. The other interesting thing is that like a lot of filmmakers I run into, because this was kind of a more popular thing back in the 90s, like, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to do a short.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn it into a feature.
Yeah.
And that happened more back then. Doesn't happen really now. I mean, incredibly rare for it to happen now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people will say to me, hey, I have this idea for a feature. Should I do like a 10, 15 minute short to try to turn it into a feature? Yeah. And I will say, absolutely not. Do not do that. Yeah. If you're doing a short film, do it for love of short film. Short films do not make money. You're not going to make money doing a short film. Yeah. If you think you're going to get your short film professionally distributed and make money, you're crazy. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Do it for love. Do it for fun. Mm-hmm. And do it for something for your reel too. I mean, it's good to have good if it's good quality.
Yeah.
When the Train Stops, the short that I did a few years ago that I was telling you about with Michael Forrest, and is I think it's the best thing I've ever directed. I'm more proud of it than anything else I've ever directed, as far as my work on it, my personal work on it.
Yeah.
So, and it has a prominent place in my reel, and it's just great. So,
yeah.
But it's not making money. It's not selling to a distributor. And I never thought it would. And it's not being turned into a feature or anything like that. So don't make shorts thinking you're going to convert them into features.
Yeah.
That's another piece of advice that I would give my young self. Do not think that's going to happen, because it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also add to that, like, are you familiar with the transmedia strategy of storytelling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, it's something I've been toying with, because I do have a lot of passion projects of mine, but they're like these big scope worlds. And I kind of wonder, like, does it make sense for me to invest time in doing, say, an 8-episode web series or an 8-episode podcast that's a much smaller scope, that at least I have finished something? And then if it does, get 1 million views or whatever, maybe I could use that as a pitch element in my deck. But I don't know if that's something that's actually, and I'm not asking you if this is a good idea.
Right.
I'm kind of asking, like, I'm kind of bringing it up because, like, I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I think one of the things we forget as filmmakers, particularly feature filmmakers, is it's important to make stuff just so we can keep that muscle sharp,
Yeah.
Not web series.
Yeah. No. Well, no. I mean, if you're doing it, then just be aware of the long term, and be aware of its potential or lack thereof. But I don't know. I feel like the transmedia thing was really big like 10 years ago.
So much now.
Not so much now, and I think audiences have such short attention spans now.
Yeah.
It's going to be, if you expect an audience to watch a movie and then go home and watch a web series about those things, or like surf the internet, and like I remember when in 2005 when when Doctor Who came back as a television series after being
yeah.
off the air for quite a while, they leaned hard into the transmedia stuff. Like there was websites that like you could go on deep dives on websites, and every website that appeared in the show, a fictional website of that actually was made.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could go and you could like deep dive into things about these different characters we're doing and like all sorts of offs. And I feel like today people don't have time for that.
No,
or at least they think they don't have time for that. They don't have the attention span for that, I should say.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. So creating like this vast world that crosses web and television and film and video games and comic books and
TikToks.
It's yeah. I don't know that that's going to find a huge audience unless it's a pre-existing, very, very beloved property.
Yeah.
You know, that people are willing to spend a lot of time on.
And that is Season 3, Episode 12 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, James Kerwin, for joining us. You can find out more about him by checking out the show notes and subscribing to our YouTube channel at Greater Grander. Our intro and outro music today was Ophelia's Blues by Audionautics. Episode still image is provided by James Kerwin. We'd love to hear from you, and you can check out this week's accompanying article on greaterandgrander.com entitled 8 Questions Every Writer and Advocate Should Ask a Producer Before Signing. Link in the show notes. You can stay up to date by following us on YouTube and social media at the handle Greater Grander, all one word. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube wherever fine podcasts are found. And also, if you like what we do, share this podcast with a group who you think will enjoy it. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions. And until then, keep producing dreams.